All right. Good evening, everyone. We are live with Walls of Wellness, and I am so excited to have this guest. I had an opportunity to really meet him. I don't even know if it's been 2 weeks, Dr. Mike, that we've even known each other yet. He came highly recommended from someone. And she said he had a book. And once he said he had a book, y'all know I was all ears. And then when he told me his book was about wellness, I was like, look, can you please get on the show before the end of this year? Because we know that it's holiday time for a lot of people. And that means cookies, cakes, pies, all things delicious. And also, many times people are wanting to start that New Year's outright. So I'm all about health and wellness, and my motto is for people to live their greatest life. So, welcome to Walls of Wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Kathleen Walls. And if you've been to the show before, you already know what I'm going to tell you. If you've never been to one of my shows before, I encourage people open up a tab, get a pen, get a paper, get something, because you're going to hear something that you're going to say, I need to write that down. I need to remember this, or I need to share this with someone. And with that being said, I want to introduce you to my guest today. So welcome, Dr. Mike. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Walls, for giving me the opportunity to talk with you and spread the word about wellness and help some people and the community.
Yes, yes. So let's give people a little background. Tell them a little about yourself.
Sure. So, born and raised in New Jersey from the Italian heritage. So, I'm a first generation Italian, which is listed a little bit in the book about how I was brought up, which
Mm-hmm.
was more of a strict and stern upbringing, but I think it really helped mold me into who I am today. And more in the northern part of the state. I'm from Bergen County, Hackensack, Wayne, Ridgewood, Patterson, that area, and
Okay.
came down to South Jersey a little over 20 years ago for my training in residency as an anesthesiologist,
Hmm.
and really connected with the South Jersey culture, less traffic, nicer people compared to the North Jersey, like hustle and bustle and rat
Yes.
race.
Yes.
So stayed on staff after my training at Cooper Hospital, where I finished my residency in anesthesia, practiced
Mm-hmm.
as an anesthesiologist for a year, and then moved to New York City and Beth Israel Medical Center in Manhattan to do
Mm-hmm.
further training in pain management. And I became a board certified pain management physician and came back down to South Jersey after having a short run for about a year in private practice in Austin, Texas,
Okay.
and started an educational fellowship program where we teach doctors how to perform pain management procedures, how to treat patients with pain, and really settled into the area of helping the community deal with acute and chronic pain.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic. So now tell us this. Let's just jump right into your book, because we only have you for a little bit of time today. We know this is not a one and done, but we got to respect your time. You were doing a lot, and the holidays are on the horizon. So let's jump in and talk about this book of yours. And I'm going to pull it up so people can see why you're telling us the title and the premise. All right. Go ahead and tell us about the book.
Sure. So I think the best way to approach how this came to be is to highlight a little bit about modern healthcare, which probably a lot of the listeners are aware of. That
Mm-hmm.
it involves, as a provider, a nurse practitioner, a doctor, a fair amount of paperwork. And that's fine, but you have to find your way to get all that paperwork done, mostly on the computer. So for me, I'd come in extra early and stay a little later at the end of the day to get that paperwork done.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm doing that, I'm listening to podcasts, vodcasts, audiobooks, health and wellness formats and information to try and stay current of what's new on how to stay healthy and well.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm listening to this, I really thought it was challenging to assimilate all that information and say, some podcasts would say follow this diet. Others would say exercise this way. Others would say sleep doesn't make too much of a difference. And another podcast would say it's the most important thing to do. So I said, wow, if I'm in the medical field and I'm a physician and I'm having trouble
Mm-hmm.
really following all this, I'm taking notes as I'm listening to this and doing my notes for the computer and the patients for the day. And I said that we really need an easy to follow guide
Yes.
on how to live well.
Yes.
Do I take a vitamin? Do I take a supplement? Does it matter how much protein I eat? Does it matter if I go to bed the same time? The basic stuff that should be easy to follow, but there's some mixed information out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hopeful, being in the medical field and a physician, that it would be more trustworthy of someone who put this together, dug through the research, gave an easy to follow guide on the basic things of exercise, sleep, stress management, day-to-day mindset. Those kind of principles are all laid out in the book and should be an easy read for the everyday person.
Nice, nice. And you're absolutely right. Um, in today's world, we are given so much information and we don't know what to trust. We don't many times even have access sometimes to the people who can give us that best information. And so, someone with your background and being able to provide it in a book that's easy to read, easy to comprehend, it doesn't have the medical jargon. I remember listening to my father, who was a veterinarian, and he would be with his veterinarian friends and they'd be using words and I'm trying to figure out how to even spell them. And it's like, what in the world does that mean? And being able to take this health and wellness, which we all need, and make it for the everyday person is wonderful. So, first, thank you for doing that for
My
us.
pleasure.
What would you say are, for instance, for people to get a grasp of what's in the book, what are a couple things they can expect when they purchase this book? Because they're going to get this book.
All right. I hope so. Yeah. No, I think expectations are clearing the air about diet. That I think a big thing we've been misled throughout the community is that fat is bad. And
Mm,
eating certain types of fat can be very beneficial for a whole
mhm,
lot of us. The
mhm.
monounsaturated fat, the olive oil, salmon, walnuts, avocados. So not all fat is created equal. And I
Yes.
think it was demonized for such a long time. And now we've realized that's really isolated to trans fat. And that's the processed fat found in margarine, shortening, certain pastries. And that's not good because we don't have the ability as human beings to metabolize that type of fat.
Exactly.
So I think we got very caught up for such a long time on counting calories and, oh my God, I had so many calories today and look how much fat is in this. And I can
Mhm.
only use 1 teaspoon of this olive oil because I don't want to gain weight. And
Mm,
calories matter, but up to a certain limit that we're utilizing some of those fats for energy. Certain types of fats can be processed more quickly than others. So I
yes.
think getting a little bit of the clear air of diet in general, where I don't promote or recommend one diet. I respect people who want to follow the vegetarian diet or
Mhm,
vegan or a religious form of what their culture believes of not eating certain products or
mhm.
meats, but understanding that we need certain types of macronutrients of protein and fat as well as carbohydrate, but going low on the sugars and processed foods, we know from all the nutritional research it doesn't do our body good.
Right. Right.
So a pretty good guide on diet there of just clearing the air and quoting a little bit of research, but in an easy to follow manner. And
Nice.
exercise, it's a similar format where you can connect with a certain form of exercise, whether it's yoga, cardiovascular exercise of getting your heart rate up and running. But a lot of the research does point to longevity benefits from resistance training, not lifting heavy weights,
Um,
not going crazy in the gym, but
mhm,
contracting certain muscle groups most days of the week, even for
mhm.
short periods, 10 or 15 minutes, can act as like a sink of glucose for the body. Where if we
Wow.
have certain sugars, they're getting broken down even at times of rest when you're doing certain muscle movements and muscle contractions. So somehow incorporating that 5 pound weights, moving them around, different squats, even with no weight on the body. So instead of just going for a run every day, if you love that, you can continue it, but maybe not doing the same thing all the time because that could be a little hard on our joints and hips and
Mm-hmm.
knees and spine.
Mm-hmm.
So some resistance training is definitely a beneficial thing for all of us, young, old, male, female, and probably sleep. That would be another one that's a big pillar that I
Yes.
feel like a lot of us don't have the right schedule, and life is hectic. It's stressful at time. We're up worrying about family members and friends that might be going through a tough time, but going to sleep at so many different times throughout the week can really disrupt our circadian rhythm in our brain. And it's hard to rebound from that. So
Yes.
trying to stick with a schedule, keeping the room a little bit on the cooler side, not
Mm-hmm.
eating right before bed, those
Mm-hmm.
simple things can go a long way instead of reaching for a sleeping pill or a supplement or something to get you on track to fall asleep right away.
Yeah. You know what? And y'all, I told y'all, have your pen and paper ready or a tab open or something. We've been on here 11 minutes. He done gave you a whole life-changing regime. If you need it, you can just incorporate some of what he shared in these 11 minutes. Imagine what you will be able to do when you buy this book and read it, not just buy it and put it on the shelf, but actually buy it and read it and start to incorporate these different changes from moving out of, as you were talking about it, I kept thinking about the phrase fat shaming, right? When we let go and get clear of, when we let go of what we think fat is, and we get clear on actually what fat is and what good fats are, as you talked about, like in avocados, like in walnuts, and understand how these things, how these different foods really impact your body. It is so important, and establish a new relationship with food and with terms and so forth. And then we start talking about the movement. And actually, let me go back to sleep, the importance of having a routine. Can you talk a little bit about, I've heard people talk about the adrenal glands and how it's important that they get their proper rest. I think it's between, it's 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. are the high time.
Yeah, some research is there, or they call it 10 to 2 is like the magical time of how our brain cleans out toxins. So maybe 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., somewhere around that time.
Okay.
Historically, it's been, as human beings, that part of our brain has been turned off, and it stimulates another part called the glymphatic system, which is like the cleaning system of our brain, where cleans out cell debris, recirculates some of the spinal fluid. Most of us are in rapid eye movement or REM sleep
Mm-hmm.
around that time. We can process and create memories around that time. So when we're dreaming and you're studying the day before, reading a book, you're really able to imprint those images and thoughts in your mind at that time from 11 to 2 or 10 to 2, because there's so much dynamic processes going on in the brain of clean out, neurochemical release, hormone release.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so important that we allow our bodies to truly function the way that they are designed to function and assist them. And I know I am a former early childhood elementary ed teacher. I worked in crisis units as far as mental health is concerned. And I know there were so many times where I was not kind to my body, not on purpose, but because as a teacher, many times I'll eat in the morning before school started if I remembered. And then I wouldn't drink during the day because I didn't want to have to go to the restroom because I didn't have anybody to relieve me. And the same thing would happen in crisis environments. But then what is that doing to my body? I'm dehydrated, right? I'm starving. Then it sets me up for binge eating. And the wellness cycle is just completely out of whack. I see you shaking your head like, yep, yep.
100%. You're right on the money, Dr. Walls. That's it. And you are, so it's so common that picture you painted of how a day could transpire of getting off on the wrong foot, and your intention was good. I don't want to leave my students unattended. I
Right.
can't leave the room. So I don't want to eat and drink and do those things, but in the end it is taking a toll on
Yes.
how the mechanics of our body work and how we digest things and how the rest of the day plays out and how it releases certain hormones that deal with hunger. And when those
Hmm.
hormones are released, you want to eat and keep eating, and it's hard to get satiated if you haven't
Yes.
eaten all day.
Yes. And so I had a friend who also was an assistant of mine, and she really was a godsend because what she started doing, she was like, we're going to make you smoothies. We're going to make you soups. We're going to give you things that you can sip on throughout the day. We're going to incorporate different types of proteins for you that you can consume easily throughout your day. And then she would also make me get up and move because as a therapist, obviously I'm sitting for long periods of time. She's like, you're going to get up, you're going to move, you're going to stretch. And so these are types of things that I'm hearing are in your wellness book.
That's correct. Yeah. I think to highlight one of those items would be making it a point of what you eat first in the day,
Okay.
whether it's when you first wake up or if you choose to do some type of fast. That's the hot topic these days about
Yeah.
intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, and it can do some of us good. Fasting might not be for everybody, but
Hmm.
whatever you choose to put in your mouth first really sets the stage of how your metabolism works the rest of that day and even
Mm.
that evening. So it's been proven again in most of the nutritional research that if you start with sugary drinks,
Hmm.
fructose, soda, and things that are like a donut or a Danish, you're going to be hungry throughout the rest of the day. It is not,
Really?
for sure. It is not a mind over matter thing. And you say, oh, I had some breakfast. I had coffee with some sugar in it and a Danish and a couple sips of the soda, and I feel good. But within a couple hours, my gosh, most of us are going to be having that hangry feeling of an
Yeah.
emotion because it's a fair amount of glucose that those products get broken down into, and that releases insulin in the body to help lower the sugar. And insulin is known as the hunger hormone. So the more glucose we consume, whether it's in its raw sugar form or a processed carbohydrate, not like
Hmm.
vegetables, there's carbohydrates in vegetables, but they're mixed with fiber, which slow the digestion. But if you're
Hmm.
drinking and eating straight sugar, the insulin release is more profound and it makes all of us at any age very hungry. Where if you start the day with some type of protein, any type, it doesn't have to be an animal protein, it could be a protein powder, it could be a vegan protein, along with maybe a little bit of fat, that can really keep you satiated, and you'll still need to eat the rest of the day, but you
Hmm.
won't have these emotional cravings. I say emotional
Mm.
because people get distracted. They can't think until they satisfy that craving because they
Yeah.
started the day with too much sugar early on.
Look at that. Well, thank you. I've never heard it explained that way before. So, look, y'all know if he explained it like that now, imagine how I explained it in the book. Get the book.
Mhm, mhm.
So, no, but it's so important because you're absolutely right. Like I think about being in school, we had our health classes. Some of us, some classes, some teachers were better than others. Sometimes people had class, sometimes they didn't. So there's so many things about our health that we don't know. And then as our body changes from different hormones and just development, then I mean we have to adjust to these changes. And one of the things that I often tell people that I work with is that puberty may have stopped by a certain age, but our body changing has not stopped. We still have to navigate and adjust according to what we need. And the quality of food has also changed over time because the quality of the soil has changed over time. So supplements and things like that. Go ahead. I saw stuff resonating with you. What's going through your mind?
That's near and dear to my heart,
All
where I
right.
see a lot of patients trying their best and they really are doing the right thing by
Mm-hmm.
eating vegetables, not eating too much, eating what they consider healthy, even organic. And for some reason, they're having symptoms, maybe of pain, maybe poor sleep, maybe muscle cramps. Something
Mm-hmm.
in the body is happening and it's telling them you may be deficient in magnesium, maybe vitamin D. What? But I'm eating all this healthy stuff because of exactly what you said from the Department of Agriculture, who tests the soil and
Mm-hmm.
says land is more expensive now. So it's hard to plant in this area this year to
Mm-hmm.
cultivate certain vegetables and fruits and then go to another area and another area. So since land is expensive, they monocrop the same platform of land, and the soil's depleted of
Yep.
carbon, nitrogen, things that help create the nutrition in a lot of our fruits and vegetables or anything that grows into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's true. That's not a personal opinion. That's
Yeah.
been what's
It's
known
proven.
throughout
Yeah.
the United States. And
Yeah.
if we had some animals moving around the land and them eating grass and ruminating, they help fertilize the soil. So we need cows and other animals
Yes.
to cultivate the land, and we need to plant in different areas of the soil each year. But
Mm-hmm.
the world's getting fuller with people and busier,
Mm-hmm.
so it's harder to have more open farmland and plant crops throughout different regions. But
Yeah.
that's really taken a toll on us because the nutritional density of these foods are not the same
Yeah.
now compared to 25 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, I love that phrase nutritional density because that's exactly it. When we think about like concentration, we have so many things where it's concentrated and it's like it's not as potent as it once was. And so I remember I have been a strict vegan before for 5 years at one point, and it was like you can't eat enough of what you need because you need so much more than what you used to need. And it was like, so then therefore you're going to have to supplement with certain things. And as you talked about vitamin C, vitamin D, like those levels. And I remember having a urinalysis. I just kept saying to my husband, my brain is not working like it used to. And I was like, my convergence zones, it's just not flowing. Like something is wrong. And I'm usually very quick and very sharp, and I feel slow and sluggish. And I said, I don't, it's not an age thing, but it's something. And so I ended up going to a nutritionist who was absolutely incredible. And she looked at my blood work and she also did a urinalysis. And she said, your vitamin D and vitamin C levels are at a 4.
Hmm.
She said, I don't even know how you're sitting before me. I don't know how your continence is what it is. And she didn't even know all the things I was going through. My father had just made his transition. Like it was just a whole lot of stuff happening. She said, oh my goodness. She said, your body had like a perfect storm and everything was just off. And so she put me on supplements of vitamin C, vitamin D, multi minerals instead of a multivitamin, and so forth. Because what's how I understand it, and please feel free to correct it, was basically like this is baseline and here I am down here. And so even though I was taking a multi-mineral, a multivitamin, I was only coming up, but so much, but I was never getting to where I was supposed to be, let alone surpassing it.
Yeah.
And so she had to super supplement me, and it took 9 months for me to finally get to my levels.
Yeah, I think the message there for everybody listening is you know your body best. If you feel like you're not processing information the same, feeling the same, recovering after a workout the same, things change as we get a little older, but it shouldn't be that dramatic.
Right.
So test, don't guess. Test, take a
Mm,
test, ask your primary care doctor, someone else to say, I don't feel like things are working right, and explain the symptoms if it is brain fog, fatigue, muscle cramps, because those are the most common things
Yes,
we feel when we're deficient in some of these nutrients, vitamins, or minerals. So
yes.
get tested and see. And most of us, I would argue, do need supplementation just because
Mhm.
of the lack of nutrition in most of the fruits, vegetables, and meats and products that are out there today.
Yeah.
So I think it would really benefit us to supplement most people with magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D. We learned the detriment of low vitamin D levels with the COVID-19 pandemic. That a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the medical research, even done at Cooper Hospital, showed that the worst outcomes of patients who didn't survive COVID had low vitamin D levels.
Wow.
So
Wow.
vitamin D is a fat soluble hormone, fat soluble vitamin that acts more like a hormone. So
Mm.
it's a vitamin, but it acts in so many dynamic pathways that without it, we have a weakened immune system. It affects our bone health, our brain health. It has such a dynamic function on the body. And if we get ill with either a virus or bacteria, we don't recover that well if our vitamin D levels are suboptimal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Such important information. I know, right? Dion Chambers is saying so interesting. It is so interesting and so important. For those who are just joining us, you are listening to Dr. Mike. I had his book up a moment ago. He is the author of The Wellness Formula, Unlocking a Doctor's Secrets to Longevity and Optimal Health. Definitely. I mean, we have a quick session today. I'm putting the link for his book in the chat room. Please be sure to check it out. I mean, we are coming to the end of 2025, coming into 2026. I encourage everyone to live their greatest life. And in order to do that, you got to be healthy. And here is someone who knows health and wellness and has created a tool for us to use to help us. Dr. Mike, I know we only have you for a few more minutes. Anything else that you would like to share with the people, with the audience before you go? I know Dion said, I need that book. I know. Look, I'm telling you, get it for yourself, get it for family, friends. I think it's great stocking stuffers. Definitely get the book.
Yeah. I would say that, you know, the book is basically a science based guide that can help you achieve sustainable health by addressing all the interconnected pillars of wellness rather than focusing on a quick fix or an isolated symptom. It draws on clinical experience of my own and evidence based medicine.
Mhm.
The book hopefully would provide a clear, actionable strategy for improving your sleep, managing stress, optimizing nutrition, incorporating meaningful movement,
Mm.
and cultivating a resilient mindset. It's designed for everybody, young, old, male, female, and it emphasizes small, consistent changes that compound over time, empowering readers to take an active, informed role in their health
Mhm.
and to lead to long term well being.
That's it. That's it. Leslie said, thank you for this. Definitely. Definitely. Well, Dr. Mike, we just thank you so much for taking some time out of your extremely busy schedule to share this information with us. You all, if you came in late, go back, listen to the replay. Within the first 9 minutes, he gave us enough to change our lives in the right direction. I'm so serious. So I say, if he gave us that over this time, you know what's in the book for yourself and for others. If you have not subscribed to Ask Dr. Walls 525 on YouTube, please be sure to do so. It is absolutely free to subscribe. Just takes a moment to hit that button. And also, yes, Dion said, yes, we need more conversations like this. Yes, definitely. And that's why I love the fact he's written medical books and for medical, but this one specifically he wrote for the lay people, for the community, so that we know how to live a better life. So Dr. Mike, thank you. I know you got to get back to work. We appreciate you and value you. So have a wonderful rest of your day and have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, Dr. Walls. I appreciate the opportunity and to spread the good word of health and wellness into the community.
Yes. All right, everyone. We will see you soon. I'll be back on Monday at noon because we'll be talking about financial health and wellness. Honey, we doing all things health and wellness. So we'll see you then. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.